Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 22 of the Glory Days podcast. We are here back, snapped back to reality, as old Slim Shady would probably say right now.
Yep.
After the highs of a 1-0 win against Auckland, we have suffered yet another home loss, a 2-1 loss to Western Sydney Wanderers. And you know what?
That.
Well, you did predict that, and
Someone
I'm very
wasn't happy
surprised that my Twitter feed did not blow up with people sending me that clip from previous. But let's not discuss that. We're here to talk about Perth Glory. We're here to talk about the game and what I actually thought was not a horrible performance, but wasn't entirely what I was hoping for. To be honest, I didn't really expect us to go out there and blow them off the park. And to be honest, as well, I didn't think we played that badly. Aside from some individual errors, we were largely in the game. We created some good chances, but there's plenty of stuff to talk about, including some recent transfers, some stuff that got done today and stuff that's likely to get done in the next few days now that the ALeague transfer window is open. We're recording this on January 16th. So, James, kick us off, mate.
Well, we've got quite a lot of fan comments, including some Western Sydney fans who left some questionable material there.
As they always do.
Yeah, as standard procedure. So we'll begin with a West Sydney fan. He said, as a Wanderers fan, it was great to see Tomislav Mrčela still wanting to play for us with that cheeky tap-in the first half. But jokes aside, Perth Glory have improved dramatically since the start of the season and seem like an actual competent football team, unlucky to not get a point. Alen, neutral here, but I've seen enough over the last few weeks to suggest that they'll make finals in a couple of years if everything stays on track. Back Zrilla. Daniel Del Barello, not clinical in front of goal, fatigue showing in decision-making. Promising signs, but poor in both boxes. Risdon stood out again, and O'Neill finally brought some composure and midfield pressure that's been missing all season. Couple more. 2 silly mistakes cost us the game. Definitely need some quality signings in January to hopefully push us up in the league, if only we showed this fight at the start of the season. Ewan, a good performance, but we lacked the creative outlet when Pennington went off, and it was just stupid mistakes again that cost us. David needs to be making attacking subs earlier. O'Neill looks past it, and Freeney looks a very good player. Lachlan played well in the first half. 2 stupid mistakes cost us. Think it should have been a draw in the end, as they did have some good opportunities. Felt attacking-wise, we were wasteful. Tags having a shot from the edge of the box in 3-on-2 situation, etc. The subs should have been made earlier. And there's a few more, but we'll flash them through the show as we continue. But I think in terms of a general thought of the game, for me, I'm pretty sure I said in the last episode that given that we had played a lot of games in the last few days, a lot of travel, fatigue was going to kick in at some point. And I felt if we were going to get a result, then we would need to kill the game early. Ideally get 1 or 2 goals in the first 20 minutes, put West Sydney Wanderers on the back foot.
We killed it early, all right?
Well, we killed it early, but we killed ourselves. But before we start on the first goal, we may as well touch on the starting lineup. Because there was a fairly notable omission on our part. We said we weren't going to boo him last podcast.
No.
We can confirm that Jared Coluccio has left. That's probably common knowledge at this point, but he's most likely returned to the Western Sydney Wanderers. And Will Freeney came in for his starting debut, and maybe Zrilla was watching the podcast late at night when it was streamed, because we were suggesting that Freeney was going to get his chance at some point. So.
Can I just say, I love how we do this, how Zrilic does this shit all the time with the lineups, how there'll be a player that hasn't played or not even made a matchday squad for like a month and then just comes in and starts.
He did pretty well.
He did it with Warland.
Yeah.
He did it with Mrčela. The first time that he appeared for us was a start.
Yep.
Freeney, he's just done it now. Like, he does it all the time. And I can't tell if I love it because it's unpredictable and just all around funny, or if I just absolutely despise it.
But it was also like, who else would you have put there?
You had a
at
few,
left wing for this game.
I did say this. I don't think Freeney had that bad of a performance. I know a lot of people were sort of slinging shit his way because he was playing left wing and he wasn't really getting forward and shooting and creating much and taking his man on. But it's like he's never
been
been
a stock standard winger.
Exactly. He's never been that kind of player. And I made a comparison to sort of, he reminded me, that performance at least, of how I'd expect Jack Grealish to play in a City side and how he does normally play, where he's more about ball retention and moving the possession and sort of not really getting that assist, but getting the assist before the assist. Sort of starting the play, drawing the man in and looking to play central.
So he's not going to score for over a year. Is that what you're saying?
Will Franey?
Yeah.
No, he's
At
back
least
in a hat trick
spent
next week,
100
mate.
million, though.
Yeah, that's true.
That is true as well.
But I mean, it's fair go to him because wasn't he on basically all the set pieces and corners and stuff?
He pretty much was as well.
So already first game, and he's made a pretty good impression for me. And obviously, look, I'd rather see him in his more natural sort of area in the midfield rather than being used as a winger. But I think he held his own very well. And in terms of like an appetizer for things to come, I thought he was very solid. And you could tell he was starting to fatigue towards the end because it was his first full minutes.
Definitely.
But a really good start.
Yeah.
I'm
he went
happy
off
with
with
him.
cramp around the end as well.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
no,
sure.
he lost his leg.
Yeah.
Yeah. Push it back
That was
in.
Pearman. That wasn't even Franey, bro.
He went
whatever.
down holding his leg up, bro.
Yeah.
Like, he was
Whatever.
gone.
That was. Oh my god! I'm there losing
Finished.
my head because we're losing to the Wanderers, and then Pearman goes down with cramp. He's pushing on the leg, and Will goes, "Oh, I wonder if this is like a pulled muscle or if it's a dislocation." I said he wouldn't be pushing on his leg if it's a dislocation, and he goes, "Oh, what if his leg came off and he's putting it back on?" Oh man, you were making me lose my head.
Will's
Bro.
IQ test mid-game.
Love a good rage bait. But just on Doggy, I did message him a couple of days back.
I miss you.
Saying thank you for your time here, and he got back to me and said he appreciated the support. He also said see you soon, so I'm guessing that might just mean when he comes back and plays Perth.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's just a nice thing to say. But no, just a nice guy and a good football. You can't really beat that. A guy who plays for the badge, and he's also just a nice guy off the pitch too. So I'm gonna miss him, that's for sure. But I'm also happy for him if he wanted to go home. And at this stage of his career, it'd be nice to be able to go back for a decent paycheck and go home. Like that's a nice move for him.
I do hope he gets minutes at Wanderers as
He
well, because
definitely should.
he's definitely a player that not a lot of people would say would be a sort of starter for the national team or something. But he's someone that I could genuinely see just being around the squad because he's versatile, he works hard, he's got a great attitude. Great leader as well, as we can tell from out on the pitch from all the times
He's a
we've seen
utility
him.
player.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Like,
but
you need those
yeah.
kinds of
He's
players
exactly
in the squad.
the kind of player that you want in any squad, realistically.
And he might even get slotted in at fullback for the Wanderers because
I've never heard any complaints from him either about games that he wasn't starting or minutes or anything like that. No reports or anything. Absolute utter professional.
Brilliant player.
So we may as well discuss the start to the game. I think I was getting a bottle of water.
You were.
And then because it was you and Jonas that were essentially just waiting, and then
Just watching and then crying.
I can't remember if I saw the goal actually happen, but I could just hear the stadium go, oh.
Well, I didn't see what actually happened. I saw the ball go in. I turned my head to look for you, see if you were ready.
Yeah.
And I see the ball in the net. I'm like, oh.
Because I think we were trying to find Josh, and then
Yeah.
it's like, fuck, I've not even got to our seat, and it's 1-0 down.
1-0 down. And
But
it's so unlucky, man.
But it's like Comedy Central again with our defending, because if you watch the replay back, it was Milanovic who I thought was pretty good, and if there's probably any player that in the A-League that I'd like to go and nab, it's probably him. Because when you're wanting a bit of output from a winger and someone to run at defences and create and cause a bit of chaos, he's exactly that sort of player. And I'm sure Wanderers fans, for as much as he may frustrate them with the amount of times he wants to shoot, he's someone that, to quote Stan, puts bums on seats. And he took up a great position in that right inside channel. And after some really good link-up play from the Wanderers, they found Jack Clisby. Clisby swings in a zinger of a cross, and then a bit of a chaos ball. And then, it's easy for us to say in hindsight, but I think that's something that should have been dealt with far better than what it was. I mean, it was unfortunate that it deflected off Labib,
into
but
the net,
it's just we're the architects of our own downfall. And, it just was sort of emblematic of some of the mistakes that we've seen for some of the goals that we conceded earlier on in the season.
Yeah.
But that's the sort of shit that, okay, you need to reset and focus and go again, but it shouldn't be happening in the first place for me.
Nah, but at the other side of it too, freak accidents happen in football.
Yeah, of course.
And I wouldn't put that goal down to necessarily poor defending. More that Tommy did try and clear it, and it just went awfully wrong. Like, a footballer's allowed to make a mistake every now and again, and Tommy's been close to perfect since he's come back. I'd say he's done what he's done well.
He's been solid.
He's been, exactly what we needed.
Since he's come back, he's genuinely probably been one of the best centre backs in the league, I'd say, since he's come back. I would argue in terms of form, he has been on point.
Well, yeah, you come into a side that was losing by 4 or 5 every week, and then after a few weeks of being there, we're now losing by 1 or 2. That's a fair.
But that's a 2 or 3 goal return, mate. That's absolutely fine.
Except for Sydney.
But then again, though, that's also due to Labib as well.
Oh no, of course.
Because it's like neither of them work unless they've got each other next.
And Rizzo.
Yes,
his form has just taken off the last
Jesus
few
Lord,
weeks. I don't
man.
know where it's come from, but he's.
It was like watching the
prime
old
Risdon.
school Risdon.
Yeah, like first ALeague grand final Risdon, like that period of time when
Yeah.
young with all that. Yeah, it was crazy, but so good to see. That's exactly what we were hoping for. But no, I think defensively that is just. I want to say it's an anomaly for how we have been defending the last few weeks. That one was just a bit of a freak accident. However, you're right. That should have been dealt with the moment it was in the box. You shouldn't be kind of hovering over it.
Yeah, and it's just like, I think there was another instance where it was sort of a bit of a problem earlier on in the game where we just weren't winning our 50-50s or winning our duels.
Yeah, the first half hour.
Like we would get into some really good pressing positions, but then we just wouldn't win it. We wouldn't win the ball because I think Clisby had all this time, and obviously we had to be compact and squeeze the ball side where the players were. But I think Trent vacated his position on the right wing to go and close, I think it was Božidar Krajev, because he tucked inside to give the space for Clisby.
Full credit to that Wanderers midfield as well. Heaps of physicality in that midfield. You got Brillante, you had Krajev, Mata was putting in an absolute
Juan
shift.
Mata, man. He
My
ran
God.
that midfield.
He ran-
Nicholas Milanovic.
yeah.
If there's one player I fully expect to get a European move and a Socceroos
Yeah,
call
it'd be
up in this
Milanovic.
league, it'd be Milanovic.
Well, he
I
was.
was going to say Mata. I was like,
No.
I was like, wait a
But
minute.
Milano-
I mean, Mata for the Socceroos. He's been to Perth enough times. Might as well give him the citizenship. at this
Marquee,
point.
wow signing. But Milanovic, I'm pretty sure, was going to be going to Dinamo Zagreb.
Dinamo Zagreb,
Yeah.
but the
Yeah.
deal fell through, I'm pretty sure.
Well, they might want to get him on a free, maybe.
Well, maybe.
Perhaps.
Maybe.
But
Because they know how bad
Ross
the
got the
ALeague is
checkbook.
at doing that.
well, maybe a good wow signing.
Hey, Ross.
But yeah, I just think it was sort of our start was just a little bit flat, which we probably should have anticipated because Wanderers were coming in fresh. Meanwhile, we had essentially the same starting lineup as we did for the Auckland game, and I would have thought there's no harm in rotating the squad just a little bit because for as good as Western Sydney are, I think we need to have as fresh a team as possible to play the way David wants. If you've got players that are not fully fit, then you run the risk of potentially seeing some guys make mistakes that they typically wouldn't make. And I think a fit Tommy Murchula doesn't make that mistake. So I think it's just something that we needed to find our groove, and I'm glad that, we didn't allow Wanderers to capitalise on any further damage at that time because I think there was one moment where my heart was in my mouth where I think there was a cross from a Wanderers player and then the ball went through Ollie Sale, and I think Risdon got there just in time before Zach Zapsud. And Wanderers in that first 10 or 15 minutes were really starting to put the pressure on. But I think once we got our press going, that's when it changed.
Yeah.
Because there was a moment where Mata, we forced the Wanderers into a deep side on our right wing. Mata got caught on the ball. Pennington got it off him. And then I put it on my Twitter feed. It was the one that had the really quick passing link up between, I think, Taggart, Franey and O'Neill. And it was the one that Lizalewski had where he made the run into the box.
And he
nearly got it.
Yeah.
And that was like, that's the sort of link up that we were sort of seeing in the Auckland game.
And just on that, the fact that Lizalewski was in that position, I was very confused in the first half. It didn't happen so much in the second half, but Freeney and Zach almost swapped. Like Freeney would drop to left back and Zach would take left wing, and they'd swap between each other because there's so many times that Zach would push forward and Freeney would drop back into that left back position. I don't know if that was on purpose because obviously Rizzo doesn't do that with whoever's playing on the right side. He stays fairly back. So I was like, is that a tactical thing or is that Freeney not really being sure where to go and Zach's just like, screw it, I'm going. If you're
I
not
reckon
gonna have to run.
Lizalewski's just watched at least 12 hours of Dan Burn highlights and compilations. He's just going all out, man.
No, Kieran Trippier at full back.
Oh
just
my
bombing
God.
forward.
Just bombing forward.
No, but what do you guys think? Do you think that was a tactical thing, or do you think Zach, with a bit more experience in game time about how the system works, was like, okay, look, Will's not going to probably do that, and I know exactly what to do, so I'm going to go forward.
Might have been a bit of both, because maybe our thought was, Wanderers are a very good team in transition, and if we commit too many players forward, for as decent one-on-one defenders as especially Murchula and Labib slowly and surely both are, having them try and deal with a counter-attack involving Milanovic, Krajev, Borello.
With a through ball from Mata.
Fuck. You're dicing with danger. So I think that was probably a proactive move, perhaps, on Will's part. But even if it wasn't, it was still a good move anyway. And
Very
then
good.
I think it was also, and then I'll let you have your say, Alex, but I think it was also Lizalewski taking some ownership and going, well, we need that outlet to progress the play, and there's been far more forward runs from the whole team.
And he did well.
Yeah.
His runs were very good.
And that's the thing. up until this month, ironically, we hadn't really seen many forward runs from the players. Everyone had been very hesitant to attack and go forward. But now it's like, well, we need to create chances. And I think
everyone was doing it all of a sudden.
Well,
like
if you have
Rizzo and Zach were
if you have a look at our numbers, I would not be surprised if we've had an uptick in the amount of shots we're averaging each game this month.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
The amount of touches we're having in the opposition's box, the amount of XG we're creating. I think everything has seen an uptick, but I think it obviously needs to continue to improve. But it was good to see at least Lizalewski making those forward runs while you've got Risen doing that on the same side.
Yeah, and look, just a couple of things. Like, at the start of the season, if you told me that by round whatever we're at, 14 games in, that we would have our two starting fullbacks being Zach Lizalewski and Josh Risdon, and the one that would be playing the role of an overlapping fullback would be Zach Lizalewski. I would have.
No, we didn't see that.
I would have said, "What the hell are you thinking?"
Yeah.
But Zach is playing right into this role, and that's why I'm also so excited about the prospect of Misao coming in. Like we've mentioned on previous podcasts as well, that he ranks very highly in J-League 1 metrics in terms of crosses completed, and in terms of forward progression of the ball and stuff.
Defensive duels won.
Defensive duels won, which makes it seem like he is genuinely being considered as sort of the perfect person for Zach to look to mold his game off of.
Yeah.
And if Zach is looking to become sort of that long-term overlapping left back that we see playing in a 4-2-3-1 as we've seen throughout the season, I can't think of really a better option that we could have got in at the moment for him to learn off of as someone as Misao. Zach is really, really improving, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing. I'm thinking he's still just a touch short. He gets into great positions. He thinks on his feet really well. Obviously has a really good football IQ.
End
just needs to improve on the end product. But once he gets that end product done, we are looking at, honestly, possibly a really, really good overlapping left back being born here for the next at least 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get poached by a European club at that point.
He's a lot quicker than I thought too.
He's a big boy, but he's got some legs.
I did not know he had that kind of legs on him.
This is the thing. I know we were debating this off camera before we started, but in terms of if Zach is going to move on from Glory when he eventually does take that next step, we were debating obviously Europe, but I was thinking somewhere in Asia actually.
Look, I can see what you're saying.
Like a Japan or a Korea.
I can see what you're saying.
You see those types of players that are coming from those competitions, especially if it can go like J1 or J2.
I just think that because of his physique, he will be, in Asia at least, he will be made to be more of a defensive-minded player. But I think he just has such a natural sort of... When I watch him play in sort of these attacking roles, you can sort of tell when you watch a player whether it's down to sort of just natural instinct or whether it's sort of just like mechanically planned out and they're having to think about every move they make. When I watch Zach, it's weird because I don't look at him sort of like looking for every single inch of space and then moving. He almost does it by himself.
It's by his own intuition.
It's by his own intuition. And I'm worried that if he does move to like a Korea or an Asia because of his physique, and his physique is very impressive, he's tall, he's strong, you know, he's done very well in defensive actions over the last few weeks, that he's going to be made to sort of sit back more. And I really would like to see some club harness his sort of talent for me, which looks like a sort of hybrid fullback, someone that can be strong in defensive transition, but someone that does have the ability to get forward if you need an extra man.
Put it this way though, if let's say he went to one of those Japanese clubs, I mean, we're signing Okamoto, who we imagine is going to be playing as a centre back, but he's specialised in a back three, and there'd be quite a few clubs in Japan and Korea that play with a back three.
Oh no,
and you think about it, someone like Lizalewski playing that ball carrying role from a back three, he can still get forward and still look to initiate the play. But I understand what you mean about if he goes to one of those sorts of leagues, could that possibly diminish some potential that he's currently showing at Glory?
I genuinely think that I could see his next move for me, and I think it would be a good move. If he sort of continues at this pace, I could genuinely see by the time because he's 19 now, by the time he's maybe turning 21 or just turned 21, a really good move for him I could see at least would be Serie B or Bundesliga 2.
Yeah,
I genuinely think he can get to that level in about 2 years. And look, that might be crazy considering that, you know, we've had our struggles this season and Zach is only really starting to get into, you know, starting in professional football. But you've also got to remember that Aussie centre-backs, in recent years at least, have a real knack for sort of progressing at a really, really quick rate when not previously playing first-team football. Look at Alessandro Cacciati, for example. Left Perth at 16, started for Parma
Kicking
at 18.
ass at Parma.
Became a regular starter for Parma at 18. Sebastian Esposito left Melbourne City's academy at, 18? Now he's 19 and he's one of Lecce's best defenders in their Primavera team. there's plenty of cases of young Australian centre-backs that are starting to apply themselves in Europe because now they're getting the opportunities to go before they're reaching their mid-20s. And I really think that Zach is a case, especially Adriano Labib as well, of players that can make that next jump and really, really improve. I think Zach would do a lot better in sort of an Italy or a Germany. I really think Labib's next step sort of really fits England. He just screams England
I'd
to
say
me.
Zach does too. Zach, do you know how many, if you feel like League One or even Championship, the amount of fullbacks there who are built like brick shithouses. They're just big, it's like a Carl Walker type.
But this is the thing about having someone like a Yuto Misao, depending on how good the communication is, the experience that he would have accumulated. And again, I got to stress this because I mentioned it in the previous podcast. He's won the Asian Champions League with I think Kashima in 2017. Yeah. That can't be understated enough. He's won quite a fair amount of trophies.
He's got the experience.
And he's got that experience. And to have that extra level of experience for however long Yuto is here for is going to be massive. And for our young players in general, who they've got to look at in terms of good senior players, we've already mentioned Murchler for Labib, and obviously Pearman, how he's got to learn off Taggart. It's really good for us that we've got these young guys that have got some really good senior players to learn off. And especially with Pearman, the way in which we've been playing, well, even the game against Auckland, but in this game, he was linking up well with Taggart. And we'll touch about it more in the second half, but once we started to find our groove, I think it was only a matter of time before we were going to score. For me.
Absolutely.
Because we obviously had Osler, he had the skewed shot in the first half. Brandon O'Neill's free kick. For me, debatable whether it even was a free kick. I thought it should have been a pen.
Yeah.
I didn't get a great view of it because I was in, just behind the bay at the time, so I couldn't really see the screen that well from that angle. But I've heard a lot of people saying that it was on the line, should have been checked more. Look, it's here or there.
Well, his feet were definitely in the box.
He was definitely
his feet are in the box, but it's where the ball makes contact. I understand why people would automatically jump and say, oh, it should be a pen, but it's like those sort of like 1%ers. You know what I mean?
Well, it looked for me, there was enough of evidence to suggest it should be looked at for a long time. And I don't think it was looked at enough by VAR. I think and look, we were obviously watching it from the stadium. We weren't watching it at home, but from the big screen replay, it was like, well, hold on. It clearly looks like the ball's come off him and he's in the box. So it could have been a pen. But like I said, we were slowly building that momentum. I don't really think after 15, 20 minutes, Wanderers really had all that much to do. I mean, they sort of pushed and probed, but they didn't really put us under immense pressure. And then the second half, I'm pretty sure, well, for the Taggart goal, I remember I caught Taggart scoring because I was coming up the stairs and I fucking tripped up the stairs. Just as
no, you're just walking past us, and as you're walking past us, Taggart scores, and we all just jump you, man.
So the whole goal comes about, I think, because Lawrence Thomas tried playing a long ball out. Risdon came out like a bat out of hell, won the header, and then I think it made its way to O'Neill. He then found Risdon again, and then I encourage the viewers to watch Taggart's movement in the box for that goal, because it's something that we've banged on about a long time, but his movement in the penalty box is one of the best in terms of strikers in the A-League.
He just waits and makes that run. And then
or it's just like the amount of times he checks and then goes back and then he goes forward, and then with Brillante not being a natural centre-back, we cashed in on that, and I felt in terms of a really well-constructed goal, again, another goal that's come from our press. The goal against Auckland came from our press. So we're clearly seeing a style of play begin to work, and that goal in general, for me, just as a few words on it, really good one.
I think in general, for how we played the last couple of weeks with the press, like that goal is, again, like a massive show of how much better we've gotten with just our press and our tactics. And even when you put out that poll of what you want to see, in the next few months, do you want to make top 6? Do you want to see tactically things getting better? Do you want to see more results? What do you want to see? I said I want to see tactics looking better and actually seeing improvement. And just the way we have been playing the last few weeks, if you were to add more quality, like more experience into these positions, like there's quite a few people on Twitter and stuff saying they played so well, the Glory, but they get the ball in the attack and they're playing like tippy toes because they haven't got enough experienced players to get on the ball and actually have a shot. But if you were to add your Lockie Wales with your Taggarts up top and Patrick Wood, players who know how to strike that ball when they get first touch, bang. I would be lying if I said that goal and the one against Auckland isn't getting me quite excited.
I would just say as well, I genuinely think I enjoyed that goal more than the Pearman goal. And I love Jalen Pearman. Seeing him score his first goal and it being the winner, with context, it being the winner against Auckland to get us our first home win in 329 days was absolutely phenomenal, right? But from a pure sort of tactical perspective or football perspective, or someone that's been crying out to see a working press.
Yes.
Watching not only that, but the whole idea that Ross and Stan went with bringing back some of the more experienced WA boys to add to that core. That goal was made in WA. It was Risdon,
pretty much.
The initiation of the press that Zrilic had been working on, Risdon winning that header, O'Neill with the ball back, the ball into the box through Risdon, Taggart with the movement, and a beautiful finish. It couldn't get better than that. That is 3 of our core WA leaders on the pitch combining to get us a goal, a massive goal back into the game. And look, obviously, at the end of the game, it didn't go our way. But these are the promising signs that we have been looking for. And I'm really, really excited to see where this goes next, because you're adding all these young core. You're adding some really promising WA talents in Pearman and Labib. And from the looks of it, and from what we've heard, and from what we've seen already with our transfer business that we'll get into later in the episode, it seems like Ross and Stan are initiating a plan that's been built up over at least the past 6 months.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really looking forward to where this is going.
But this is the thing. I can say this on my part as well. I've been banging my head on the fucking desk or wherever saying, I want to see an identity. I want to see a style of play.
Yeah.
We brought in someone that had spent years, not just as a coach, but as a player as well, learning every fucking detail possible from Ralph Rangnick himself.
Yeah.
And Alexander Bleston, who's now at obviously St. Pauli with some of the Socceroos that we're seeing right now. And we were all hoping to see an identity, a style of play, because we can probably all safely say, post-Popper, no one really put in a cohesive style of play that was like an identifiable. It was like, that's Perth Glory.
Yeah.
No one could really say, because it was sort of like freestyle football, make it up as you go along. And that's why I was so pissed off, or just, well, not pissed off, but just disappointed, because we saw something in the Cup. But then once we hit the A-League season, it was just a mess. But now it's like you look at the last few games and yes, okay, the results haven't gone our way for all of them, but you're seeing a project. And just as another point with some of the stats, we had 63 final third entries and 41 penalty area entries, more than Western Sydney Wanderers all game. And that is probably also due to the fact that we were pushing on late in the game. Yeah. But as a point of us improving, that we were normally getting smashed by teams when it came to final third or penalty area entries. Yeah. So again, we're evolving with our style of play and thinking how these new signings are going to improve things.
It's exciting because the signings that we, compared to the last transfer market we went through and signing these random players we have never heard of, now we're actually doing what we've been asking.
We're signing more players that we haven't heard of, but the stats look a bit better at least.
Yeah, they got market valuation on the transfer market.
We can find actual stats about them and see they have good career paths.
See they've got a highlights reel.
Yeah, and also signing some players who are proven A-League players, which is what we've been asking for. We've been asking for players that from past experiences have played in the A-League and done a good job, and that's what you need at the club right now. And I do have just a really small, not really a big question. With the signings we were getting, we know, if not all of them, we know the ones that are confirmed.
Yep.
If they are as promising and as good as we think they will be in the system, give them a couple of weeks to get used to it, obviously, because you can't get used to a pressing system that
quickly.
Yeah. Depending on what we don't know what the Japanese players would have played in. Maybe they played in a press their whole careers and
let's not forget their season has been over for about a month as well.
Yeah. So let's just give them a few weeks. So that's probably about 2 match days. Because
you'd be hoping for either maybe the Mariners or the Victory game, ideally, knowing that they've got 10 days or 9 or 10 days until we play the Jets from today's recording.
Yeah. This break couldn't have come at a better time.
Correct.
Oh, with the signings as well?
Correct.
Yeah.
Brilliant. We have a week basically from all these signings. Well, they're already with the squad, we got told.
Well, we understand at least that there are Wales has been training in some capacity along with the 2 Japanese guys we believe are here in Perth.
Yep. And the one that Josh spotted.
We'll mention those. We'll mention those later.
A bit later.
Well, it's public knowledge now.
It is public knowledge.
It's sort of public knowledge.
We're getting into signings again, so we'll get.
Okay. I just wanted to ask. Oh, I can talk.
No. Ask questions.
Okay. Yeah. With everything that we are doing in the current transfer market.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
What? He's not even answered that.
Oh, sorry.
Is there a small world where we make the push?
I've said to James before you got
We
here,
are 4 wins behind.
I said, okay, so realistically, top 6 right now is, I believe, 23 points. We're on
21.
21 points,
Yeah,
sorry.
and
We're on 8.
Yep.
All the teams in the top 6 have a game in hand on us. Essentially, we have 13 games to make up, I guess, like a 15-point gap-ish. I don't see a situation in which we make... I'd like to say I don't see a situation. I don't really feel confident in saying top 6, but I think top 8 is very much achievable.
Australia Cup.
Eighth
Especially-
is 8th automatic promotion or qualification.
8th is
It is,
automatic
yeah.
qualification to the Australia Cup.
That should be the target.
Automatic to the Australia
That should
Cup.
be the target.
We are 10 points behind, and the team in 8th right now is the Wanderers. However, I do see a number of sides in that top 8, where we realistically could steal points.
There's one thing I did want to ask though. I know we're sort of casting head. We'll get back into the game very quickly, but there's Raw who are underneath us, and then you've also got the likes of Jets, Mariners, and Wellington. Yeah. Maybe I've got my purple tinted glasses on, but I would much rather be in our position moving forward than those clubs.
Would I rather be owned by the Backeries? No. Would I rather be the Newcastle Jets who can't even get 500 people to go to a game and they suck? No.
Would I rather live in New Zealand?
Okay.
No.
Would I rather be the Mariners who are broke and can't seem to find a permanent owner and they might be getting relocated anyway?
Yeah.
No. Would I rather be the Phoenix? There's an argument because they've got a really good manager, but
they're losing players.
But you do have to live in New Zealand.
Yeah.
But that's the thing.
Disgusting. We hate New Zealanders on this podcast.
Well, we sort of do have to talk about it. Zach Sapsford's goal.
He doesn't deny it either, guys.
Yeah, look, I'm sorry, but you can't. At this point,
Say it, James. Say it.
For someone who's allegedly on the contract that he is, I expect far more consistency from Ollie Sale. Look, we were praising
Super Ollie Sale goal.
We were praising him because he quite rightly was the best player on the park against Auckland.
Yep.
But my godfather, he was terrible against West Sydney Wanderers. I mean, we have to call it how we see it on this podcast. Again, we have no doubts about Ollie.
Is he being dropped next week for Cam Cook after that?
No, don't start this whole blunt rotation.
No.
The A-League goalkeeper nightmare blunt rotation. I cannot be.
we don't need to kill his confidence any further because he would know himself. He was not at his best.
No,
and we need far more consistency. That's what we need. But
can I just say sorry?
Yeah.
I love the whole call from fans on Facebook every time there's a mistake from Ollie Sale.
Public execution.
No. But every time Ollie Sale makes a mistake, it's yes, let's swap out the experienced shot-stopping A-League keeper who can't distribute for a young Australian shot-stopping keeper who can't distribute. Yeah. That'll make things better, wouldn't it?
But that's the thing. It's like Ollie Sale's goal kicks now for some time have been pretty sketchy.
Why don't we just do what every other club who has a shit goalie who can't kick the ball? Not saying, sorry, a shit disputer, because I don't know, you can't really say he's good.
What, get the centre backs to take the goal kick?
They were doing that, but they were doing that during the game though for Lawrence Thomas.
They were.
That's what I'm saying. So get Tommy to do it. Why not?
Just punt it long.
What? Just get Tommy Merge, get the whole NFL gear on, get the helmet on, just run up, just punt the ball.
Even Pennington or Branner, I know he drags him out, but even like Risdon,
you can make it. But this is the thing though. It's like it's so dumb. Like even Zrilla said it in the press conference. Like once we got the equaliser, there was probably only one team that was going to win it from there, and it was us.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, that ugly head, which is shit fucking defending Comedy Central. No, our defending.
Right.
That's been kamikaze.
No, that wasn't even our defending. That goal.
No, really defensive errors.
Ollie kicked it straight into
defensive stupid errors.
No, but it wasn't defensive stupidity. That was just Ollie.
But it's in like errors occurring.
Okay, I will just say, until we make some centre back sign. Now, here's the thing, right? My one problem with our defensive structure, and I think a thing that puts added pressure on Ollie Sale, is our inability to play out from the back. And I'm not going to say that's down to Zrilic's system or teachings. I genuinely see Zrilic as a guy who would want for us to play out from the back, as it would make a lot more sense for our sort of pressing, counter-pressing system. However, when you have a centre-back partnership of Tommy Murchula and Adriano Labib,
they're not ball-playing centre-backs.
They are not ball-playing centre-backs.
No.
When we bring in guys like Okamoto and possibly we'll see. Hopefully this happens, but we've been talking about how we would love to bring in Joshua Laws. Obviously he was sided with Stan at the Sydney game. Yeah. That means nothing realistically, but
what it means something.
Well, it means something.
We don't
But
know.
right now-
But to me,
But right now,
know
it
if he's
means
gonna
nothing.
come.
But if you bring in guys like Joshua Laws and Okamoto, who by all means are most likely more comfortable on the ball than guys like Murchula and Labib,
Yeah.
it does give us that extra freedom and probably takes some pressure off of Sale to have to just punt the ball along every
But
single time
as
and pray to God that we win it.
I mean, sorry.
You know, it's okay.
Tommy on the ball actually fine. The amount of times he pushed up after that own goal, and he did a little step around, and he pushed. He did that right in front of us.
No,
and he pushed the ball around and he went around.
Yeah.
Like he can do it.
No, he's
He
fine as a
can.
dribbler, but
Yeah.
as a
Yeah, as a
passer.
dri- yeah.
As a
As a
passer.
dribbler,
That was so funny
he's
though.
fine. But
played
as someone who is
striker.
actively
Striker,
trying to
yeah.
play first time, one touch,
Yeah.
two touch passes
No.
out from the back
No.
in a consistent manner for
that's-
90 minutes.
It's Lockie Bar level, like the 1 to 2 touches.
Oh.
Like Labib's passing isn't quite there yet. He just kind of. To be fair to him, he knows it. He doesn't try and be cute. He just bombs it with his head and just hopes
Get
someone
it
gets
out.
onto He doesn't do the whole cute pass. He just gets it out, which is good because he's not
Trying to
pretend.
Brexit ball again and like hook it
Literally,
long for.
I'm here for it.
Adriano Labib about to get that massive move to Stoke City.
He's coming to Everton.
Here we
Yeah.
go.
But it's no.
He would have been perfect
Doesn't-
under
yeah.
Daesh.
He's
going to
refuse
Burnley.
like Dodge. No,
But it's
this,
always
but this is the thing though. It's like architects have their own downfall because we've been playing very good football up to that point.
Yeah.
Where we're mounting a fairly credible case to win the whole thing altogether.
Yep.
But that's the
talking
thing.
about the game of the A-League.
No, not the league.
We're gonna win.
We'll win the fucking next year.
Way!
But
Stanley.
But that's the thing. It's like if we continue to make dumb errors, then forget trying to make the top six. You don't win games, and that's the thing. While we have had good performances this season, we have made a lot of dumb mistakes in
Yeah.
a lot of our games. And
Such as signing Kanga.
well, but that's the thing. If you iron out, that's the thing. We've talked about if we bring in these signings, how better our performances would be. But also, if we iron out those defensive mishaps,
Yeah.
how good will our performances be, or how much will they improve? But I think from there, the game, well, there was a few highlights, notably the sprinklers coming on.
That was
Best part of the game.
Peak A-League.
Oh, man.
Peak A-League.
I love
And the
when
shed just going, oh.
I love when
every
the
time.
A-League does A-League shit, bro.
Then booed once the fucking sprinklers went out.
Yeah.
But I think to wrap up on the game at least, the last 15 or so minutes, I think we got into some good positions.
Yep.
But we couldn't find that final ball or create that chance, so to speak.
On another day, Taggart will give you one of those. You know, he had 2 or 3 shots, and on another day he gets. I think all of them
Yeah.
were off target. On another day, he gets 1 or 2 of them on target, and maybe one of them goes in. You know, it's just one of those things.
The left-footed volley or the
Yeah.
one at the edge of the box that he sent into row triple Z.
Yeah, but there was that one where he took a touch as well. And
Yeah.
you know, at the end of the day, we did create some pretty good chances. I think it's just a shame.
Our approach
we
play was
convert.
better. We had more threat on the ball.
I
And
love
Tommy's header
how-
as well from
Yeah.
that set piece.
I love-
Lizalewski.
I love how I
okay.
can accurately remember the times of Tony Popovich where we won nearly every game at home, but now we're genuinely sitting here happy because we lost a game, but it's okay because we could string 3 passes together.
Well, Popper would have been proud because that was probably his second
That-
game that he watched in person since the MacArthur
that
one.
was not honestly that bad. Look,
No.
that's probably the first loss this season where I genuinely haven't wanted to either A, drive my head through a window, or B, cry myself to sleep.
We're back from last season. Remember, we'd watch losses at home, and we
No,
go, you
this
know
is
what?
different.
At least we created some
No,
chances.
this is different. This
No,
is
but it's good. It's
different.
not a bad thing.
And then end of
I
the
know.
season. Oh.
No, but honestly, it feels different though because it's like we're seeing something build here. Like
Yeah.
we're
Yeah,
sort of
no, we
seeing,
are.
we are seeing a style of play, and even people that were clowning on Perth initially were like, "Oh, they're actually sort of playing semi-competent
Actually,
football." Well,
Not that horrible now, actually.
well, no, because Daniel McBreen said.
Maybe I treated you too harshly.
Daniel McBreen was like in the A-League or fair thing. He was like, now they don't look like a pub team anymore, and it's like, well,
Thank you, Daniel.
but he's not wrong because up until
I
January,
really appreciate Daniel
we'd
McBreen
been dog
and his
shit.
2 cents.
Dog shit. We've been dog shit pretty much all season, but again, like it's a game that sort of got away from us. I think all the Wanderers fans were sort of like, yeah, you probably should have.
Yeah,
done something from it.
even the harshest and most rage-baiting Western Sydney fans were saying, you know what, you guys did well. You probably should have won that.
Probably
You know?
should have.
I saw more people from the Wanderers calling for Stajcic sacking after that game than I did see them clowning
Jesus.
Perth,
If
which
they-
is honestly
yeah.
insane.
But they just
Name me
hate
another
Staj.
scenario where the Wanderers have beaten Perth and they've had more calls for a manager sacking than they have for I've not seen a single Wanderers fan clowning Perth. I've seen at least 2 call for Stajcic sacking.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
Well, no, but
after win,
they only scored 2 goals because of our errors. They didn't create anything.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, they didn't create anything good from that game.
No, they did, because remember Borello missed those 2 chances.
Oh, he stinks.
Oh, I suppose.
But that's the thing.
Borello. You can't expect
I know,
he
but
sucks.
Borello
sucks.
He's awful.
I know.
He's the worst player ever.
Well,
I'm
he is.
kidding.
But we would take him.
I would take him at the club.
We would take him.
Yeah.
But I do want to say one thing though on Staj. I mean, one thing we can't question is that he's a great bloke. I mean, because even the way in which he talked about Glory pre and post game, you can just tell that he enjoyed his time here, and I flicked him a message.
How did he talk, James? Tell us exactly how.
Hey?
Tell us
who was it that said that they really enjoyed the Stajcic? Was it Matthias?
Yeah, Matthias. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Matthias. We
Sorry,
appreciate
we've been
the hours that I've put into my Alen Stajcic impression.
Jesus, we've been doing that Staj voice since.
What do you mean? It's not even a voice.
Who are you?
Who are you? This is just how I talk.
I like ZZ season 10.
No, but he
4 fucking 2.
Fucking
Collie
Brexit
number
ball.
6. No, but I think it would have been, in another world, it would have been somewhat cool to have seen what he could have done with like money to spend with us.
No, I agree.
But it's just unfortunate how it's gone.
And I think he wanted to stay too because he bought that property in
Fremantle.
Freo for
Yeah.
a lot of money. And I was like, okay, he's staying there. And all of a sudden it's like, I bought a property in Fremantle. And what you get is you lose your job and you get sacked away. Yeah.
I bought a property.
Why'd you go to Fremantle?
And they give you the property, but then you get sacked.
Should have gone. What they do for you is they sack you.
And then Dave's like, hey, chill the fuck out, yo.
Chill the fuck. It's just Gio Collie in the corner.
Yeah, Gio Collie.
He should have bought a house.
If you don't know what's happening, bro.
I put a house,
Bro, Will showed me one chopped chin meme, and now it's nothing.
I really did.
Oh my god.
I bought an Ecuadorian centre back.
What they do for you? They give you dog shit.
Sorry. Anyway, back to where were we?
We are not serious, bro.
Overall thoughts.
Yeah, it's just that the news. But we'll touch on the new signings.
Yeah.
We have made one.
There's 2 coming today, apparently.
Possibly.
To Gareth.
Hopefully, Lord Gareth maybe has.
Has he posted anything else?
Don't think so.
Hold on, let me check.
No, they've just said that Carluccio's gone.
Oh, so that's the double. Cheers, Gareth. That's the double we're talking about.
Thanks, Gareth.
Fuck's sake! What a dampener.
the mood, man.
Well, let's lift the mood by talking about Lachie Wales since he has officially joined the club. The official release is 6 months, but I would not be surprised if there was an extension in there.
It bloody better.
Yeah, well, but I feel fairly confident in saying that.
Good.
But the big point is that we bashed on about it now for some time. We do need a player like Lachie Wales in the sense of what he will bring to us from both an attacking and defensive perspective. In the sense of someone that's going to provide that speed, because I think we have lacked that. Because could you imagine a scenario where you've got Taggart and Pearman that are doing some really good link-up play, and then you've got Wales making a runner behind? Teams are not going to be sure whether they should step up or they should drop off.
Yep.
And having that sort of dilemma for defences is something that should give us a bit more of an edge and should hopefully allow us to create even more chances. But that was a game, the Wanderers game, where I was like, fuck, if only we had Wales coming off the bench in those last few moments.
Yeah, no, 100%. Even
starting.
Even just playing anywhere, if it's the first 60, the last 60, the first half hour, last half hour, either just some kind of impact from him would have been nice. Obviously, losing Pennington as well was a...
I hope that's not serious. Bro. I really hope that's not serious.
That was a big
I think he
turning
has had
point.
scans.
And do we know the results of those scans?
We don't know.
Okay.
I wasn't in the hospital today, unfortunately.
Damn.
I was there holding his hand while I was in the hospital bed last night, but I had to leave to record this podcast because
Things we do.
Apparently some people have dentist appointments at 2 p.m. and can't push the shit back any later.
No, I can't because I'm leaving the country in 2 days.
Get out of here.
Get out!
Anyways,
There was also something else in terms of signings because,
look, let's go over the obvious ones first.
yeah,
Okamoto and Masao, for all we know, are tied up from all
They are
sources.
done. They're done.
They're done because we've heard multiple reports that they are training with the squad at the moment.
Well, not training. They've had fitness tests, I think.
Done with the squad, pretty much. They've had their medicals. They've done all their other shit. They've had their assessments done.
They should be. They should be. We would like to hope involved.
Yeah.
With the team against the Jets.
Yeah.
Or if not, make your debut against Victory and smash into Arzani or even Bruno.
That another one that we're pretty sure is done as well by all meaningful reports would be Patrick Wood to the club on a 6-month
Yeah,
loan.
Ufuk Talay did hint that at the end of the Wellington-Sydney game, when you've got visa players playing in attacking positions, you need to give your young guys a game, and if they can go to another club and get game time, that'll work.
I have said this though. I wouldn't be surprised if this is another one of those sort of... And look, I'm expecting this is going to be the case with a number of these signings that we're bringing in this transfer window. Obviously with Lachie Wales, that we've seen how it's initially a 6-month or till the end of the season deal. But I wouldn't be surprised that with Wales, Okamoto, Masao, and maybe even Patrick Wood on loan, if there is in these contracts an option to extend, or even with Wood's case, since he's tied till 2026, an option to make the deal permanent after the loan. And I really hope that is the case, because Patrick Wood seems to me like an ideal candidate to learn under Adam Taggart for the next 2 years, and possibly be the starting striker for this team for the foreseeable future until he at least gets a move to Europe or a better opportunity opens up for either him or us. Another one that we are pretty certain is done.
Yeah, well, because we saw him running with the guys at full time. So
even though we're not
really
probably allowed to announce this.
Well, stuff
I
it.
think it's pretty obvious.
It's pretty public info now.
It's pretty obvious.
When you put them out in front of everyone and
Just
have
so
them training in a glory kit in front of everyone, it's kind of obvious.
Because I think I might have pointed it out to Josh. I was like, that's Tasmore Kudus.
We thought
and then it was, and then I think it was Josh or someone said, "No, that's Lachie Bar." And
no, that was me, because
you said,
no, because we saw
Lachie
Bar at the members' lounge and we were wondering where he was. So when I see a tall
Blonde
guy
dude.
with blondish ginger hair,
Not ginger.
a white guy with blondish hair out there running with the squad,
Ginger?
like dirty blonde-ish.
Dirty
you know
blonde,
what I mean?
yeah.
Dirty blonde hair running with the squad. I'm like, oh, it's Lachie Bar. And they're like, no, that's James's eagle-eyed self who spends too much time on fucking transfer markets. Like,
No, that's Tasmore Kudus, mate.
spell
we were already somewhat...
James, spell Mortakudis right now.
Was this what spelling bee? Can you use it in a sentence?
Tasmore Kudus is a wow signing.
Thumbs on seats.
Nah, but
we believe. Well, I think it's pretty clear that it's likely that he has signed for us. I mean, otherwise, why else would he be wearing a glory kit and running with the boys at full time?
Look, I think that is a good signing, especially as sort of a depth pickup. I do think this means that we're probably likely to see the exits of both Lachie Bar and Kayla Majeka-Dunmi, which personally I don't mind. Majeks needs game time. As much as I rate him,
he needs game time.
He needs game time, and Bar, it just hasn't worked, unfortunately.
He was a good interim signing, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like for the meantime, because Libib probably wasn't ready, and Zach, it would have just been throwing him further into the deep end.
Yeah.
And we needed that experience.
But with Mortakudis, you have a guy that's been playing regularly in Canada's top division.
Yeah.
You have a guy that's 25 years of age, probably about to enter his prime years physically. This is a signing that I can genuinely see us making for 18 months, maybe with an option to extend for a further year. He could be a really good rotational option.
See how he goes.
See how he goes.
See how he goes. There was a report done yesterday also that, and this is a new one, that the Glory are interested in signing Christian Theoharis from the Mariners.
Yes.
Bit of a left field one. We didn't expect to hear that.
No.
But what do we think?
He's got 6 months left on his deal, right?
Yeah, 6 months left.
Yeah.
Would we take him?
Well, it really depends, because what it depends what the priority of the club is, right? If we're going to get players, that can do a shift in the A-League, yeah. But if you're going to try and use this season still to kind of develop some of the young talent, when you've still got, Kwar and Faisal.
Yeah.
I think if you do go with Theoharis, that's a big indicator for me from the board that they're now looking more towards buying into some talent and letting them develop more than using like a mixture of WA talent and outside talent, because you've still got, hypothetically, you've got 3 young wingers on your bench from WA. You've got an Asmo, you've got Kwar, and you've got Faisal. Right?
Well, Osler as well.
And Osler. So that's 4 young WA boys.
Except Faisal's
from
New South Wales, mate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Four young kids in your NPL system, at least, that you can interchange out. And if you sign Theoharis, that's kind of... It's either going to be, because it's a short-term deal, it could just be like hey, guys, there's an experienced A-League player here. I want you guys to now push to earn the right to be in the squad.
But that's another thing, though, is that I don't know if this is going to be a short-term deal, and the only reason I say that is because Christian is 25.
Yeah.
He is someone that I could genuinely see, like Mortakudis, maybe us getting on 18 months with an option to extend. And even if we do go after maybe a better or more experienced left-sided winger, even if we wanted to go after someone like a Martin Boyle, as unlikely as it is, if we did go after that sort of wow winger signing, maybe even more of like a playmaking winger similar to what Castro was, I could definitely see Theo Horace as being that sort of impact player, maybe similar to sort of what Carlo
I do not want
Armiento.
you to call Theo Horace Castro.
No. I'm only saying that I could see. No. I'm not calling Theo Horace Castro. I'm saying if we were to go sign a player after getting Theo Horace, like let's say for the start of next season, that was similar to Castro as an Avisa signing, who's maybe a bit more of a creative winger. Maybe someone like a Borja Garcia, as we've mentioned.
Forget
on the
about
podcast
it.
before.
He's finished.
Jonathan Vieira.
Let me land.
He's finished, mate.
No,
Jonathan Vieira.
No, but let me.
Jonathan
Let him
Vieira.
finish.
No, but look, Theo Horace is definitely a guy I could see being sort of filling that similar role to someone like a Carlo Armiento when he was with us, as a guy who could start from here and there, but fills a large role in sort of impacting off the bench and being a real danger to teams.
But this
when he
might
comes
also
on.
be a signing where it's sort of to the young guys, or you've got to up your game because.
Well, I could see it being that as well.
And it might be a bit of a harsh sort of line of thinking, but you've got Pearman and Lebib, like we've mentioned loads of times, that are 18 and kicking ass. Yes, they've had the luxury of consistent game time, but neither Kwa or Abdul or even Trent have impressed for that matter. And the front four, the prospect of a front four containing Adam Taggart, Jalen Pearman, Lockie Wales and Christian Theoharis. Theoharis obviously has had mixed reviews from various people. Some have said when he's on, he's on. When he's not, it's, fuck, you don't really want him in the team. But he's someone that is a known quantity in the league that can provide an okay level of output, and it's clear that we don't have the budget to go and get someone like a Martin Boyle or one of those hectic foreign players. Not yet, at least. So, I mean, for the rest of the season, I'm not saying no because I want maximum output. And like I said at the start of the season, with us initially thinking we were going to sign someone like Trent Sainsbury, or even when we ended up signing Kanga, it'd make me nothing more. Well, I'd be more proud if I could see one of Faisal or Ingo or an Osler or even an Asmo unseat Theoharis if we do sign him.
I agree.
And start ahead of him. But I don't think any of them yet have put a strong enough case forward for why they should need to have consistent game time.
I genuinely think if any of those three young wingers out of Anasmo, Faisal and Ingo can get that starting spot off of Theoharis, for me, personally, I think it is Joel Anasmo.
I think so too.
He's shown the most ability to beat his man
He
one-on-one.
friggin' beat his man the first 2 minutes when he came on.
Even when he came on against the Wanderers, like we were saying, scored on debut versus Melbourne City.
Yep.
And even when he came on in this game here, as you said, first 2 minutes, gets the ball,
drops his
gets
shoulder,
stuck on the line,
bang.
drops the ball, drops the fucking shoulder and beats his man.
Yeah.
And even against, was it Auckland when he came on?
He looked solid.
He looked really
I
good.
need more game time from him.
But that's the thing, he's justifying it more so than Faisal and Kwa. And yes,
Correct.
they're obviously younger guys and they do need time to develop. That's really important. But at this moment, we also have to think about getting results.
Yeah.
Because we can't be satisfied with finishing in the bottom two
top
again.
8 has to be
Top 8 has to be the goal.
The goal.
And you have to think about, well, who's going to get me to top 8? Well, I can trust Lebib. I can trust Pearman in the sense of young guys. Even Lizalewski, I can trust them also. But in the sense of our attack, which is being, let's be honest, for as much as it has improved, we've still scored the least amount of goals in the league. And we need to think, how can we improve our creativity? You're signing Missau, great crosser of the ball. You're signing Wales, proven player, can score goals and create. You've got Pearman, who's getting more and more involved. You've got Taggart, who's a proven goal scorer. Neither Kwa or Abdul have shown just yet.
Nope.
They're more than capable of doing it later on, but they haven't shown just yet enough of a sample size to go to David Zulich and knock on his door and say, mate, you should be playing me more.
Yep.
With Theoharis and Mortakudis especially, they seem like really smart signings to me. And I know a lot of people will sort of like stick their nose up at them and be like, oh, but are these the sort of players that are really going to improve the squad? But not every signing necessarily has to be a player that's going to get into the starting 11
and make a huge impact.
No. You need those sort of experienced guys there that are still, young enough to be able to keep around for a few years and hungry enough to sort of want to improve and want to earn that starting spot.
Yeah.
And they all seem to me, well, at least those two, they seem to me like guys that we're going to pick up relatively cheap, and are guys that do have a clear sort of path to improvement, or at least have a clear sort of path to getting a starting spot.
It should raise the standard in training, which
Absolutely.
is what we need. We need the competition, and every single player shouldn't be put on notice, so to speak. Just leave fucking George there.
No,
It's not that they should be put on notice, but it's just that they should be told, hey, no one has a safe, guaranteed spot in the starting 11. If you're going to be in the team, it's because you deserve it and you've got there on merit. So, but again, when you get that depth, and hopefully we can make these signings. Obviously, there's the 4 that we know about. There's probably going to be more, depending how things go. But we need to see that continued level of uptick in performance, which should hopefully get us to a point where we can win more games.
Now, from all the reports that we have heard, and obviously at the podcast, we speak to a lot of, I say we, James speaks to a lot of people. I do my best. Not a lot of people like me as much as James, considering he's the
no
golden
one knows
boy.
who I am.
Well, Chris Harold knows who you are.
Does he?
No, probably not. Anyways,
Didn't even hear you, bro. In the Auckland game.
I mean, Jared knows who I am. Hamzawi knows who I am. That's about it.
I play FIFA with
Oh,
Alen
friends!
Stajcic.
Football friends!
Friends! Yes.
Anyways. From a lot of reports that we have heard, we are expecting that the Glory could be making up to 7 signings. Now, Stan did say
5
on the radio.
Quite
he said quite confidently that we have 5 done. He said 5 are done.
Oh, are you talking about the video?
Yeah, the video. He said 5 are done.
5.
But he said
5.
4 to 6, and we've heard some reports saying that we could likely get 7. Now, the 7th player is one that we weren't expected to be able to land just because there would have been so much other interest from other clubs. Yeah. However, we do have very clear evidence that the club are in form, and we're very hopeful that the club can get this deal done because it would be absolutely huge. That would be Joshua Laws. Now, we have obviously talked about how much we want him, and we've seen that he has been interacting with Stan, at least at the Sydney game. He was cited.
We can safely say that there have been discussions.
Correct.
To what extent the discussions have led to, I can't categorically say that I know what's going on. But
Didn't ask.
well, free information.
I want Daniel De Silva.
Well,
you stop.
fucking he's
I
gonna
do.
I want
Daniel De Silva.
Neil Kilkenny.
He's a WA boy and he's cheap and he would fit our system.
He would.
but-
But he's also on contract right now. I'd get him at the start.
No.
We can't look. We've discussed
Can't
this. We
sign
can't.
every fucking player.
We can't.
in the league.
We can't afford. We can't afford to get every player to mutual. We can't afford every player to mutual with their contract. Will, that's not how this
Yes,
works.
we can because
just
Ross is gonna
mutualed
own the
Jared.
league.
No, Will.
Ross
get
is the
him
godfather.
Next season.
I
Get him
want
next
him
season.
now.
Get him next season so that Bulgaria and Pearman have someone to learn off of. Pearman needs a consistent run of games
No,
because he's
go
on
and get
form.
a European 10.
I don't care.
I want De
I don't want more
Silva.
players at this club that can't speak a lick of English and have to get translators. All right.
Most European people can speak English. But
I'm not asking about that. I'm not saying
just
that.
So you know, just so you know.
You just said you wanted Danny De Silva.
I do, and I didn't not to start necessarily. As a rotation player, like
Next
No,
minute,
but here's the thing.
Next minute, De Silva's like, me not speak English.
Daniele De Silva.
Roma.
But look, Danny is clearly a guy I want back. Obviously, there's concerns with his injury and history and stuff. But if he is a WA boy that we can get on cheap, similar to what we did with Brisbane,
But we
and Brown,
can't-
I would love that.
but
signing.
we shouldn't be
I
falling
don't
in-
want to get him now in January.
No,
I
but-
would rather get him at the start.
But
of
we
next
also
season.
shouldn't be falling into the trap of being tokenistic and just signing someone just because they're
know-
born in fucking
but
Perth.
don't care. I know that, but then we've
care.
also had the continuous discussion of let's get Birigidi because he's from WA and he's cheap.
But we're not the only ones calling for that because after the game, everyone was going, "Where the fuck is Birigidi?"
No, but here's the thing. It makes sense that they want to build a strong WA core because it's players that are experienced that that will stick at the club because they want to settle down, they want to retire, they want to earn, not a massive wage, but a little bit before they eventually go off into the sunset and end their careers, and possibly could go into coaching after the end of it.
Yeah.
Right?
You and your freaking
Just Danny De Silva is a really good option for us, right?
Right.
If we do lose Jalen Pearman, and I really hope we don't, but if we do lose him before we can get him tied on a pro deal, obviously we earn some compensation fee for that. Use that fee to go and get yourself a Danny De Silva.
But all I'll say though is that I'll be very intrigued to see what sort of offers we can get for the likes of Pearman and Labib if we get Labib's on a pro deal, I think. Pearman, I don't think is on a pro deal.
Get him tied down, please, for the love.
That's something we've got to get.
All that is holy.
We need that done yesterday. But if we get them both on pro deals, so Pearman and Labib, you got Piol going for practically $1 million. You've got Waddingham.
Pure going for 835,000 Australian.
Waddingham's
Waddingham
getting
going for
400, which is a
Australian.
shit deal for Brisbane.
If Piol is going for 835, Pearman is at least $1 million.
Ross is
brother.
asking price. Like, if it's $1 million, I'll talk. If it's anything less,
If
fuck
I
off.
can't build a house with what you're offering me, I don't want
Not
it.
even a house, a fucking
If I
30-story
can't
building.
build a property, if I
What's your
can't build a
fucking
training
fetish with the silver?
if I can't build a training complex in Australand with what you're paying me for the
No, we want it in Mirrabooka. No.
I want to own Mirrabooka.
Did we want to touch on Jets away, even though it's a long way away?
Nah.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Anyways, thank you guys so much.
We
Fine,
may
whatever.
as well.
We may as well.
It's
Like
the next game. Are we going to do another podcast before?
Probably not.
Well, unless there's some signings made.
Well,
But then that would be a
there'll be
bit of a short
signings that we
episode.
know about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just shut up.
Daniel Stajcic comes back to
Daniel De Silva.
This is my last podcast for the next couple of months.
All right. So,
let's
Will,
do it.
what are your thoughts on Jets?
They're cool. They fly. They.
There goes the podcast.
leave,
No,
leave,
so-
leave, go to Europe. Leave, don't come back.
You
Don't
said,
come
you
back,
said
please.
on Jets, not the Jets. but
The Jets,
Newcastle
the
Jets.
Newcastle-
Can you give me your
okay.
thoughts on Newcastle Jets Football Club trademark?
Newcastle Jets Football Club.
There are no. Okay.
Because they're currently playing Western United, I think, or they're about to. No, sorry, tomorrow they'll play Western United.
Way. They'll lose that. But
Oh, and then they'll beat us.
no, I think they're going to be facing a completely different side from that 4-0 that they saw.
Mm.
Yeah, the difference between how we played now compared to that game is kind of crazy.
We have-
different animal.
we have
the
the-
same beast.
Well, put it this way: if they
What the hell does that mean, Alex
No one knows.
Papalia?
but put it this way:
War records.
if the Jets lose to Western and we beat
Yeah.
the Jets, then we leapfrog them.
Hell yeah. Yeah, no, I think I do think I'm going to say I think we're going to win
Score.
2-1.
Alex, what are your thoughts on
I don't
Jets?
I don't want to do this because
Sorry, the Jets.
every time I get a score prediction wrong, I get clowned. But then I feel bad when I come on here and say we're going to do
hold
shit.
on. You don't have people wanting you blacklisted from HBF Park.
I do have a few people that want me.
Yeah, that is
blacklisted,
true.
So
Yeah.
You're
you're
a Glory staff member, though.
well,
Cam, I'm
Well.
going to be coming back for the next game against Victory where we will win. I promise. Otherwise, I will.
He's promised. He's promised.
he's promised. Clip it.
Or what?
Remember
what?
Or
Or
what?
what?
Remember
Or
what
what?
Stan said? Remember
Or
what
what?
Stan
Or
said?
what?
I'll
If we don't
guarantee
get
you
a
a
massive win,
I'm doing a stand.
Massive win.
as massive as that low.
Guys,
taper
we're
fade.
winning. We're winning.
If we lose to the victory, you have to get a low taper third.
A what?
Yeah.
Oh, you get my brother,
Yeah.
who does hairdressing. You get him to give you a
Hey,
low taper
Dave.
fade. If we we are signing
Rosario.
this. Everyone watching, clip this right now. If Glory do not beat Melbourne Victory at home, James will get a low taper fade. He will get a low taper
Yeah.
fade.
Done.
You will
He's
get that
promised.
done.
He's
He has promised.
We'll see.
No,
you
not we'll see.
promised.
You
You
promised
promised that we will
You said
win.
we will promise, or else I will get the low taper fade.
Say yes. I promise.
Oh, he bottled it. He's bottled it.
Because the boys are going to win.
Okay, so then just say that if.
Well, then you got nothing to lose. Well,
it's
you got-
fine.
you got nothing to risk, mate.
Boys will win.
So
They'll
so
get
you'll
the
do
job
it?
done. They'll get the
So
job
you'll
done.
do it.
Boys will get the job
So
done.
you'll do it.
I'm going to do a Kaz Pafter and not answer the question.
Bob Catter.
I hate this so much.
Go, Alex.
Look, I do think that we're showing good signs of good form. I want to see how the Jets go against Western, though, so that would be mainly my main.
Please lose 6-0.
Well, no, because then they're going to come back and fucking pump us. Look, I do think that the Jets obviously still have some key players out injured. Lockie Rose has made his return to the squad, which does sort of rustle my feathers a little bit. However, I do
Curtis
think
will take him out.
I do think that we're on good form. We've got some good signings coming in. Most of them maybe might not start against the Jets, but I'm
We'll see.
hoping that they'll make an impact in some regard.
Yep.
I think we can get the win. I think we're going to take it. I'm going to say 2-0 win.
2-0.
I'm going to say 2-0. I'm going to back the boys to get another
Alright.
clean sheet.
2-0 also for me.
Bosh. Love it.
I think that's the first time that we've all predicted the Glory to win a game this season, apart from MacArthur.
But it's
And we all
because
know
I didn't
that.
but I
predict
think
a win, I think a
but I
draw.
think it's but I think it's because they've shown that they have the capacity to win games. Like, but
And
just perform
the
well
Jets
in
have
general.
won games, but apart from the game against us, they haven't looked particularly impressive.
No, because it was a fluke.
Yeah.
They were playing against us when we were really in the shit.
Look, I think that's a good place to leave it off. Obviously, our best wishes to Will as he departs to Europe.
Josh will be
for
back on the next
for a
episode.
2-month scouting regiment to try and
I
bring
will
us
be
the next
sending in my
Mark Beavers.
thoughts.
Tick.
We'll get a little
Tick.
talk.
Well, by the time Will gets back, we'll have his answers as to Ross Peligra. But
gonna
you guys
show
will
up
see
in
that.
Saturday, I want to meet with you.
Look, Ross. Will is going to send us in his thoughts after every Glory game. Hopefully, he's going to be able to watch every single one in
I will
England,
be watching every
as
game.
well as some little travel moments because that might be a little cute. But apart from that, thank you all so much for your support. We
Leave
hit
your
200
thoughts in the comments.
We've hit 200
Yes.
subscribers as well. We forgot
200.
to mention that.
Over
200 is
200.
massive. So thank you. Massive. But thank you all so much for your continuous support. We really appreciate it all. Episode 22 is done and dusted, and we will see you all in about a week and a half where we will have more transfer talk as well as the
Update on the Jets game.
on the Jets game. So thank you all so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Cheers, guys.